Down the road from me, there's an old hollow tree where you drop off a dollar and then you go round the bend. When you come back again, there's a jug of Mountain Dew. And I'll let that good old Mountain Dew. Hey, Motor Warriors, I didn't see you standing over there. Welcome to Knee Slapper Sunday, where every Sunday, or every other Sunday, or once a month on Sunday, or shoot, whenever I feel like it, I'm going to post a silly joke or a riddle or just something silly so that we as bikers learn to not take ourselves so seriously. What do y'all think? Well, I hope you enjoy this episode of Knee Slapper Sunday, even if it's on a Tuesday. Well, hey, Motor Warriors. Now, because Doyle from the Blue Bike and Doyle gave me a hard time about my bad Cajun accent on my first video from having to do with Louisiana when I lived down there, and there's a rivalry between the UT Vols and the Crimson Tide down in Alabama, which is where Doyle's from. I thought I'd make a crack about Alabama. So anyway, this old boy, you know, he was raised in the Alabama school system, and he ended up dying, and he's standing before the pearly gates, and St. Peter comes up with a clipboard and says, "What's your name?" And he tells him, and he says, "Oh, I see you here, but there's a question mark next to your name." Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'll tell you what, if you can pass 3 simple questions, I'll go ahead and just let you in, even though there's a question mark by your name. And he said, "All right, well, go ahead and ask me the questions. I'm pretty smart, you know." And so Peter said, "All right, well, the first question is, name the days of the week that start with the letter T." And he said, and the second one is, how many seconds are there in an entire year? And the third question is, what is God's first name? So that boy from Alabama, he's like, "Oh man, I don't know. I got to think about that one. That's pretty tough. You know, I went to a pretty decent school in Alabama, but I don't know. Can I come back tomorrow and answer the questions?" St. Peter said, "Sure, come on back tomorrow." So the next day, the boy, you know, comes up to the pearly gates, and St. Peter says, "All right, well," said, "do you have answers for me?" And he said, "Yes, sir, I believe I got it nailed." And he said, "All right, well, what days of the week start with the letter T?" And he said, "Oh, it took me a while to figure that one out, but I got it. It's today and tomorrow." Well, St. Peter, like, whoa, when he raises, you know, or rolls his eyes in his head, and it's like, well, I tell you what, I really can't deny it. It ain't quite what we meant, but, you know, go ahead, I'll give you that one. So how about the one where I asked you how many seconds there are in an entire year? And he said, "Oh, that one took a little bit too, but I got that one figured out. There's 12. And St. Peter's like, 12 seconds in an entire year? And he said, "Yes, sir, the 2nd of January, the 2nd of March, and the 2nd of, you know, like that." And so St. Peter said, "All right, well, I'll give you that one just based on creativity, but I'll give you that one. But this one might be kind of tricky, though. What's God's first name?" And the boy said, "I tell you what, that one was the easiest one for me." And he said, "It was easy?" He said, "Usually people find that to be the toughest one." And he said, "No, I've known that since I was a boy." He said, St. Peter said, "You have?" And he said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Now you got to understand, I'm from Alabama, and ever since I was a little boy, I've been going to a Southern Baptist church, and we've been reading out of the hymnals all the time and singing out of the hymnals, and one of my favorite songs told me God's first name." And he said, "Well, what is it?" And he said, it's Andy." Andy? St. Peter said, how do you come up with Andy?" He said, well, like I said, in that Southern Baptist church, we sang it all the time. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. St. Peter rolled his eyes and opened the gate and said, come on, boy. Yeah! Oh, that there was a knee slapper. I tell you what.